Hey.
I wanted to ask you. You give all the winners contracts tonight. Do you feel like you're getting more liberal, or is the quality of the fighters better, and that's why? Because this year you've given out around 80%, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, if you go through the list, though, you got this girl. She looked good tonight. She fought a tough girl who's 7-0, and now she's 11-1 at 28 years old. How do you not sign Kevin? Right? He's 14-1. Look, fucking ends the fight with a 20-punch combo. The light heavyweight kid, Kevin, I wouldn't have signed him tonight, but Mick wanted him. How do you not sign Daniel and Danilo? I mean, yeah.
So does that say to you that the talent level you're bringing in is better now than it was previously?
I don't know about that. I think that obviously, you have these kids that are the right age with the right number of fights, and they come in and they perform when they're supposed to. So, yeah, I mean, you got to give them a shot. Listen, you can sit here and I don't care how long you've been in the business, you never know. It's like that kid, the last fight, that kid was an 8-1 underdog. You just never know who could end up being, what's his name? When I think about it, the Ultimate Fighter. He was picked last. I mean, how many guys were picked last on the Ultimate Fighter?
Gastelum was.
Yeah, Gastelum. Exactly. That's what I was thinking of. Kelvin was picked last. Somebody else was too, picked dead last, and look at what they became. So you never know. If we're here doing this and you got these guys with these records and perform like they do, got to give them a shot.
What about the heavyweight? I mean, the fact that, he lands, you expect a heavyweight to be explosive and big, power like that. But he immediately was on top of him and showed the great grappling skills, so the diversity in the game. I mean, does that show you that, hey, this is a guy that could really develop into something as he gets more experience?
Well, that's the other thing. He drops him the way that he did. Then he jumps right down there. He puts the choke on him. He doesn't have his hooks in or anything, but sinks that choke. To think of that, a lot of guys would have just started punching. Yeah, I mean, that guy showed up tonight and delivered. He looked like the 8-1 favorite.
Yeah. And you said you thought there were a couple that might be stars. Was he one of the ones that you referenced when you said that?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get a heavyweight that can punch, and you never know, but I'm definitely looking at Kevin. You know what I mean? Kevin Vallejos. And yeah.
And then the last thing, in Vallejos' fight, I mean, the way he just seemed to ooze that confidence. Do you think that there's like a belief when guys go through this once that they develop a belief in themselves?
Well, then when you look at who he lost to Silva, who's a fucking murderer. I mean, that guy's a killer, right? He just beat Dober. So he should feel confident. If he looks at the guy who beat him, what that guy's done, and that was a hell of a fight.
Thank you. I just got one over here.
Yeah.
I heard earlier today the UFC signed Renier de Ridder, so I was just wondering what went into that decision and what are your expectations for him?
Shit, I don't know about that. You have to ask Sean or Mick about that. Yeah.
You made headlines again talking about boxing and year in. Is that something that we can expect in the next year, or is it kind of like a slow rollout, or are you expecting to do a big announcement at some point?
Yeah, I did my first fight in Ireland, and yeah, we'll start announcing stuff here beginning of 25.
What do you think of the Anthony Joshua knockout?
What did I think? Yeah, listen, when you get two big heavyweights in there, fucking anything can happen, man. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, I'm not invested either way whatsoever in it. I can say this, the Warrens lifted their exclusivity for me to put that fight on Friday night. Good things happen to good people. I guess I'll say that.
And then big fight night this Saturday in Paris. Can you talk about the main event? Benoit Saint Denis versus Moicano. That's just kind of on paper. It's just a firefight between two killers. with Benoit coming off the loss to Poirier, he has a lot to prove. Plus, fighting his first main event in Paris, is it just going to be crazy? You'd imagine?
Yeah, no, that should be an absolute war. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. You just said it all. You just fucking teed it up. You're absolutely right. I agree. Every time we go to Paris, it's packed. Fans are rabid there. So it should be a fun night.
Thank you.
Hey, Dana. In front. We recently talked about you and Turkey Al-Alashik. Are we seeing more cohesion between you guys? Because I couldn't help but notice with Callum Walsh, he was wearing Riyadh season across his chest on the way to the ring.
Who?
Callum.
Callum?
Yeah. So he had Riyadh season on his T-shirt as he was walking to the ring. Is
Yeah.
that something that you teed up for him?
Well, I know that Sheikh Turkey had invited him to come out to the AJ fight after the fight, but he had a bunch of family out there with him, but he really wanted to go. That was more of a thank you and a respect thing to Sheikh Turkey.
Fair enough. And with you saying you're in when it comes to boxing, I just wanted to read a quote about you and the UFC from Eddie Hearn earlier this year. And he said, the reason their business is so successful, and I'm envious of it, is fighters sign a central contract. It's not a case of you're told, you know, who you're told you're fighting, and we'll see you there. There are no arguments or renegotiations. It's a case of, all right, you versus you, that's the fight, see you there. And then they go out and announce it. And I think he's talking about you, would struggle to come to terms with that lack of control that you have in boxing. And I think he's talking about when, you know, sometimes in boxing, fighters would get a piece of the back end with pay-per-view and, you know, fighter pay. There's differences between boxing and MMA. Do you have a response to that quote? It's from earlier this year in 2024.
Eddie Hearn is dead on. I absolutely agree with everything that he said. I have a plan, you know. I'm going to implement that plan, and we'll see how it works, you know. We'll see how this thing works. People have been talking about the demise of boxing for 30 years, and we're still here talking about boxing right now. I have always had an idea of how I thought it should be done. I don't know if that's possible, but we're going to find out. I'm coming in guns a-blazing.
You've got like UFC, Contender Series, Slap. Would you have space to do boxing as well, or would you have like a figurehead to kind of run it for you?
I'll build the offices right here at the Apex. The offices will be here. We're already doing construction here, and I'm planning to build all the infrastructure right here at the Apex.
So, but would boxers have access to the Performance Institute?
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's under contract, I mean, slap fighters have access to it.
Yeah.
Anyone who's under contract with us has access to the PI.
Eddie Hearn also said that I think if he was to do something in boxing, I think his preference would be to do it with us if he was going to do it with anybody. I think your preference might be to do it with Tom Loeffler. Is Eddie right, or am I right?
Listen, I like Eddie Hearn very much. Eddie Hearn was at the Sphere fight. He came early before the fight started. I have a great relationship with him. I have a great relationship with the Warrens. Obviously, love Tom Loeffler and his matchmaking and what he does. Yeah, I would probably be working with a lot of people. I'm sure you can assume the people that I would not be working with. I don't think you have to be a fucking genius to figure that one out. But yeah, I like Eddie Hearn a lot and would love to work with Eddie Hearn. Outside
of Callum Walsh, do you envisage working with other boxers in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yes.
Is one of those boxers Terence Crawford?
Like Terence too. I'll let you know the plan when everything's done. When everything's done, I'll lay out what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and we'll see how it goes.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you.
I've just got one more for boxing. Will we potentially see UFC fighters taking a break and doing a boxing fight, or is it going to be completely separate?
God, I hope not. Yeah, no.
Thank you.
Completely separate.
Just to follow up really quickly, you said in 2017 you were going to do it. You had a Zuffa boxing shirt. What happened then, and why did you change? Because when you said then you were out. Now, how did you commit?
Well, every time I get on the phone with these guys, I go, "Am I out of my fucking mind?" You know, it's just. But I think that, you know, obviously now is the time, or I would have done it then. You know, I was kicking around. I mean, I was even talking about Anthony Joshua at one time and stuff like that. You know, I'm glad that I pumped the brakes and we waited, and everything is about timing. And is now the time? We're going to find out.
Why do you think now is better than 2017?
There's a million reasons why now is. You know, if you notice with the as far as boxing goes, even as much money as Shake Turkey is throwing into this thing, you know, television deals aren't really abundant right now. There's just a lot of things that I think I can do that other people haven't done yet.
You said to the Irish people, I'm HBO, he's the promoter, referencing Tom. When you get into what you're talking about, getting into boxing, will you carry that philosophy? And then is this something that will just be to build Fight Pass into a bigger entity?
I will definitely be HBO. Yeah.
Obviously, Dane over here.
Yep.
You mentioned obviously this being your first fight with the Callum one that just happened. I also noticed that the broadcast for Callum Walsh's fight was very similar to the UFC one. They took had the same graphics and everything. So, did you receive any feedback from their production team on how it went using some of the stuff the UFC uses in their production? Yeah, it was a similar production. Yeah.
Yeah, we pulled this thing off quick. You know, there's obviously a lot of work to do, but what'd you notice about it? How fast the fights went? No fucking podcast in between fights. Yeah. So, yes, the fights will move faster. Yeah.
For sure. And Mike Tyson, I know you guys are great friends, but Mike Tyson said you getting involved in boxing would be the best thing to ever happen to the sport. So how do you feel hearing that from a guy like him?
You know how I feel about Mike. I love Mike Tyson. So to hear Mike Tyson say anything positive is awesome.
And earlier this year, I actually asked Errol Spence about this. I asked him if the boxing people would take that formula you guys have with having all the guys under one promotion, would that be the best thing for boxing? He said yes, as long as all the right people are involved. So is that what you envision in your project, eventually one day having all the best boxers under one umbrella sort of thing?
Well, it's not like that hasn't been done before. I mean, there have been dominant promoters before that have had most of the talent locked up. But listen, I think if you asked anybody, and even if you asked yourselves, the UFC model works. It works.
Thank you.
What was your thoughts on Walsh's performance, and let alone just his star power? Obviously, they loved him over there.
Yeah, I mean, for him to go back to his home country and finish the way that he did, and Kevin and I were talking that night, and he beat a real guy, a guy who's never been finished, and he did it spectacularly. You know, the commission over there needs some work. I mean, there were two really fucking bad decisions that night. And even the Callum fight, I think that, you know, it was a pretty fast count to 10. I think Gronowski probably could have got back up. I don't know if the result would have been the same, but, you know, as you bring more fights to the region, you know, start to get more work and get people, I don't know, hopefully better at judging. Because, I mean, there was one fight there that night that you didn't even ever have to watch a fight in your life and know who won the fight. And he didn't. It was pretty crazy.
When you have a guy like that has such star power, do you think that's the key of what would help rocket Zuffa boxing, finding more fighters like that you can find and really help propel the...
Finding stars helps any sport. If it's soccer, it's boxing, it's MMA, it's whatever. You got to have stars.
And last, any update on Zhang Weili when we might see her? Is that kind of just contingent on that?
We literally just met with her last week. We literally met with her the day before or the day of going to Ireland. But yeah, we'll be announcing something with her soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Dana.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dana, just a couple more. With you saying that there'll be announcements early 2025, can't help but feel that's the same timeline as Turki Al-Alashik's plan for a league. Are they similar announcements, or do you think they'll be separate?
He's announcing a league in 25?
That's what I've been hearing, yes.
Okay. You never know.
And with Callum Walsh, I've spoken to him a few times. It's clear he loves UFC and cross-trains. I know he trains with Tony Ferguson. Do you expect him to one day be a UFC fighter?
No. No, I expect him to win world championships and make a bunch of money and retire, hopefully. Yeah.
Just one boxing question here, Dana. I know the Callum Walsh card was a huge success. I know you'd extended an invitation to Conor to come join you. Didn't see him there, but he was there at the AJ fight the next day. Did you have any disappointment? Did you talk to Conor that he decided to go to the AJ fight kind of close together?
No, I was talking to Conor the whole time. Conor got stuck in New York. He had plane issues, and Conor landed like right when the fight got over. But Conor wanted to come. He was trying to come. He had an after party for him at his place, which, by the way, did any of you guys go to his place yet out in Ireland? Fucking awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Black Forge is a great restaurant, and it was very cool. It was a great experience. So, no, there was, and I knew Conor was going the next day. Yeah, no disappointment. Cool? Thanks, guys.
The hair looks good.
Cabelo tá beleza.
Tá bom?
Is it good?
Meio amassado.
It's a little just like flat, like someone.
Can you talk to me about what it feels like to be a UFC fighter?
Primeiro, você pode falar pra gente como é que você se sente em ser uma lutadora do UFC?
Sinto muito feliz mesmo. Essa é a palavra que eu posso dizer, feliz, resiliente, por ter chegado até aqui, ter feito um trabalho duro, trabalho de muita dedicação. E eu estou muito feliz por compor esse time maravilhoso.
I'm happy. Happy is the word that describes it. Resilient. Happy to have, been able to put my work on and actually come here. And very happy to be able to be a part of this wonderful team that I'm a part of.
Did the moment when you became a UFC fighter, I'm sure that you've thought about that for a long time, did it live up to what you dreamed?
O momento em que você se tornou uma lutadora deve ser oficialmente. Eu imagino que você já sonhou com isso, já imaginou, visualizou. Foi como você imaginava?
Foi melhor do que eu imaginava. Me diverti e isso não teve comparação. Eu me diverti lutando. Nunca em toda a minha vida de lutadora, de atleta, eu fiz um camp tão maravilhoso quanto esse. Sim, me diverti lutando. Parecia que estava no parque de diversão, assim, com ciência do que eu estava fazendo, mas feliz demais. Porque, vim para lutar mesmo, e é isso. O meu mestre falou, divirta-se. Você fez um excelente trabalho, então não tem como dar errado.
It was better. It was better than what I expected. It was better than I thought. It was just, to me, I had such a good time at camp. It was the best camp I've ever had, so I was ready to come. So I had fun. I had so much fun. I had fun when I was fighting. I can't describe it other than I had a lot of fun when I was doing it. My master just told me, like, you just go out there and have fun. I had a lot of fun fighting tonight. It was so much better.
What about the fight itself? Did it go the way that you had thought, or were there surprises with your opponent in there?
E vamos falar da luta, especificamente. Foi do jeito que se imaginava ou teve surpresa da tua adversária?
Não teve surpresa, a gente achou que ela iria tentar me pôr para baixo, só que a gente treinou bastante isso, sabia que ia surpreender ela com a queda. E surpreendendo ela com a queda, ela iria ficar meio que frustrada no início da luta. Então, essa foi a nossa estratégia e, graças a Deus, deu certo. Então, a gente não tinha nada demais para poder se frustrar contra ela, não. Até porque a gente já conhecia o jogo dela há um tempo atrás e ele só foi lapidando para essa luta.
No surprises. I mean, we knew what to expect. We knew that she was going to come in for a takedown. So we knew what we could do. And we knew she was going to be surprised with a takedown of her own. So all of a sudden we get that. And we knew she was going to be rattled by it. And we knew it from before. We knew her game. So we knew the strategy. We knew she was coming with. All we had to do was kind of shape it up a little bit. But we knew no surprises.
During your face-off yesterday, the two of you there were some words exchanged or some looks. Was that something personal with her, or was that something you do in every face-off?
Ontem, durante a encarada, vocês se olharam e trocaram umas palavras. Foi alguma coisa específica que aconteceu, que você falou, ou vocês falaram uma para outra, é uma coisa tua mesmo das encaradas que você faz?
Então, eu mostrei para ela que eu estava preparada desde a encarada, porque a luta começa já no primeiro olhar. Eu mostrei para ela que eu estava pronta. E se ela não tivesse pronta, eu ia engolir ela.
So I wanted to show her that, I mean, the fight starts in the first look. And I wanted to tell her that be ready, because if you're not ready, I'm going to saw you up.
Have you had a chance to think at all about what you want your UFC debut to look like?
Você já teve alguma chance ou parou para pensar em como que você gostaria que a tua estreia no UFC fosse?
Não tive a chance, mas se o chefe mandar, a gente vai treinar firme para poder dar um show melhor do que o de hoje.
Haven't had a chance yet, but if the boss demands and asks for it, listen, we're going to be training really hard to put on a better show, even the one before, better than the one that we have tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All good on this? Tá ótimo, perfeito.
Ok, obrigado, burguesia tá chegando, hein, tropa.
Her nickname is Bougie Girl, so thank you. The Bougie Girl's coming. Her nickname is Bougie Girl. That's what burguesia means. Descansar.
¿Qué son lo que estamos?
¿Qué pasa que no escuchas?
¿Qué son lo que estamos acá?
Estás tranquilo. ¿Vos? ¿Viste? Ese es tuyo.
Ya está.
Es tuyo.
Sí.
Well, congratulations. How does it feel to be a UFC fighter officially?
Felicidades. ¿Y cómo te sientes de ser un peleador del UFC?
Es como raro, no sé. Ya como que estoy más feliz, más aliviado. Todavía no lo proceso. Todavía no se procesa bien todo.
It's weird. It's weird, a kind of strange feeling. Like I'm happier, I'm more relieved, but I haven't processed it yet.
When do you think you'll process it? Will it be when you're walking in for your debut, or will it be in a couple days when people, you change your bio? Or
¿Y cuándo piensas que lo vas a procesar? ¿Solo cuando haces tu debut? ¿O hoy cuando regresas al hotel? ¿Cuando cambias tu biografía en las redes sociales? ¿Peleador UFC? ¿En qué momento creo que va a bajar eso?
Ya mañana yo ya voy a estar ya volviendo para para el gimnasio, con la gente. Ahí ya voy a saber que la misión está lograda, que el trabajo ya fue hecho. Vinimos, trabajamos, nos fuimos como nos gusta hacer y ya está, listo.
I think tomorrow it's going to settle down. I'm going to be with the gym. I'm going to be training already, knowing the mission was accomplished, that we came, we saw, we conquered like we did. This is what we set out to do, and we did it.
what about the fight itself? Did you anticipate it going as easily as it did?
Y la pelea, vamos a hablar un poco de la pelea. ¿Piensas, ya tenía en la cabeza o esperabas que podía ser tan fácil como fue por lo que fue?
La verdad que nosotros ya lo habíamos estudiado, todavía le falta un poco, pero es una persona muy dura. Yo creo que se merece otra oportunidad de Contender Camp Tig porque es un rival muy duro y lamentablemente sí le tocó pelear conmigo. Yo vengo con más experiencia, con mucho más peleas, vengo con más ganas que él, pero yo creo que él se merece también una oportunidad.
I think, we know that there's stuff missing out there, but I do think that he's a really tough guy. I think that he doesn't have as much experience as I do. I come in more experienced. I think I came in with a more will to win and a lot of, I came in with a lot of more hunger. But I think this is a guy that could maybe have a chance to come back with another fight. Maybe as it turns out, I was in front of him and I had all that going for me. But I do believe that this is a guy that could come back to Contender and have another chance.
You say that you were more hungry. Where does that hunger come from?
Y las ganas que mencionaste, que venías con más ganas. ¿De dónde vienen esas ganas tuyas?
Y la verdad que yo ya es la segunda vez que estoy acá en el Contender, tengo una astilla en este lugar. Antes era equipo azul, ahora soy equipo rojo, cambiamos totalmente, cambiamos de chip, de cabeza. No vine a demostrar nada más mi talento, nada más. El año pasado fue eso, vine a lucirme y demostrar que soy bueno nada más, pero creo que me faltaron las ganas realmente de ganar, las ganas de lastimar. Esta vez vine con una cabeza solamente de matar, de loco, voy a ganar, voy a demostrar el poder que tengo, el poder argentino, así que vine a eso nada más.
I think you talk about coming here the second time. I have a history in this place now. Like I've come back and look at the change. Like I came, it's a different time, different year, different corner, come in red, come out as a winner. I came in to do my job. Last year I came in to shine and show that I'm good and show what I have. But this year I came in to win. I came in to get the job done. I came in to show people what I'm capable of, what I have, the Argentine power. I came in to kill. That's what I came in to do.
Do you feel like everything happens for a reason? Do you feel like you had to go through that first fight and then not get the contract to be able to do what you did tonight?
¿Sentís que a veces las cosas pasan por una razón? O sea, tenías que pasar por lo que pasaste el año pasado, no te salió el contrato y ahí hiciste lo que hiciste, volviste, de esta remontada y acá estás.
Sí, creo que sí, es todo un plan de Dios, el plan de Dios es perfecto. Si no fue el año pasado, fue por algo, creo que realmente me di cuenta de qué era, lo mejoré, lo trabajé, obviamente costó porque fue una derrota, alguna astilla que me quedó, que me dolió, pero por suerte no estuve nunca solo, tengo mi equipo, tengo mi familia, tengo mi novia, tengo gente que me apoya a pesar de que pierda o gane o empate, no importa, ellos siempre van a estar ahí y van a estar apoyándome para que yo pueda seguir adelante y levantarme. Todo es por algo, yo creo que es un plan de Dios y estoy acá porque es un sacrificio y un trabajo, disciplina, es todo el trabajo que vengo haciendo año tras año.
Yeah, I think it's God's plan and God's plan is perfect. So I came, there's something missing. I went out there and I found that I worked on it. I got better at it and I came back. And that's what the plan should be, and I got it. I have people behind me, those who train with me, my family, those behind me, my girlfriend, everybody. They've been behind me all this time, and I knew what I needed to do to come back and do this. So I do believe that God's plan was that to happen, and the idea was actually come back here and do this. So, yes.
Last one for me. Have you had a chance to think about what your debut might look like, a location, an opponent, or anything like that?
Y la última pregunta de Amy, ¿has tenido la oportunidad o pensaste en cómo sería tu debut? ¿Dónde sería? ¿Contra quién sería? ¿Cuándo puede ser tu debut? ¿Lo has pensado?
La verdad que estoy listo para cualquiera, no me importa quién sea. Vivo entrenando, ahora va a ser la compañía donde voy a trabajar, así que donde me llamen yo voy a estar. Estoy dispuesto, estoy preparado para cualquiera. Tengo obviamente mis objetivos, tengo mi revancha, obviamente eso la quiero, pero creo que todo se va a dar a su tiempo. Tengo todavía trabajo, tengo que seguir escalando para crecer, pero todo mi revancha yo la quiero.
Listen, now I'm ready. I'm going to continue to train, continue to get prepared, continue to get better. I am an employee of this company, and I will fight wherever they ask me to do. If they tell me I have to be in a fight, I'll get ready and I'll be out there. There's the revenge that I think I should get, and I want that. But listen, wherever I'm called, whenever I'm called, whoever is the opponent, I'll be there. But believe me, that revenge, I want that shot.
He's going to ask about that revenge.
Kevin, this might be a silly question, but did your loss from last year, do you feel a little bit less stressed about it or less sad about it, knowing how good John Silva is, how good he's doing in the UFC, plus you're the only person he hasn't been able to finish?
Bueno, puede parecer una pregunta idiota a veces, pero te lo juro, es solo para saber, ¿existe un sentimiento de un poco más de alivio, un poco más de una seguridad de que, mira, perdí el año pasado, pero perdí para un tipo que la está rompiendo? O sea, que está ahí finalizando a todos y nadie le toca. Existe un momento que dice, bueno, perdí, pero ojo, mira contra quién perdí. Y eso te da como que una cierta confianza de decir, mira, yo estoy en un nivel ahí, está arriba.
Obviamente, Jan Silva viene ganando 3 victorias al hilo, hasta ganó en una categoría que no era la de él. Es un tipo muy peligroso, muy fuerte. Yo estoy orgulloso de haber perdido contra él. Obviamente, cuando yo perdí, tenía rencor, me molestó verlo cuando debutó y sentir que ese era mi lugar. Pero hoy día no le tengo ningún rencor, o sea, le he hablado todo, lo he felicitado por sus peleas. La revancha simplemente es una astilla que me quedó y es más que nada algo de honor, algo mío nada más, pero nunca le tengo rencor. Yo estoy agradecido con él de que me haya ganado, me haya demostrado que algo me faltaba, por eso hoy estoy hoy día acá. El año pasado Dana me felicitó a pesar de haber perdido. Hoy vine, hoy gané, me gané mi contrato. Y es todo gracias a haber perdido, haber evolucionado, haber visto todo lo que me faltaba, haber perdido contra Jan Silva, la verdad que fue algo... A pesar de, o sea, no hay mal que por bien no venga.
No, not at all. There's about the feeling. There is a bit of a relief. I understand. Like Jan Silva has been really good in this company. We're talking about a guy who's put out 3 straight wins. You talk about having somebody that actually won in a different division that wasn't even his. The company keeps giving him fights, so there's that too. Yes, for me, there is that little asterisk. It stings a little bit because I came in, you came in, all of a sudden you have that loss on your record. It stays with you out there. But I am thankful for the fact that that loss showed me things that were missing. That I came back there, I worked, I got better, I improved, I got a second chance, I went there and I won. So I have absolutely no hard feelings about it. Glad that it happened like that, in the sense that the best way to put it would be that there's nothing, no bad thing that a good thing can come out of it.
I'm assuming when you were talking about revenge, you want revenge on him. How many fights do you think you're going to have to rattle off to get that rematch?
Y cuando hablas de revancha, obviamente que estamos hablando de esta pelea, ¿cuántas peleas crees que tenía que tener el UFC para que te llegue una revancha contra él?
Creo que estamos en etapas diferentes. Él ya viene de 3 victorias, obviamente. Yo realmente no sé si va a poder pelear por el título. Le deseo ojalá que llegue al título, que esté rankeado. Es una persona muy peligrosa, va a llegar seguramente. Pero yo creo que estamos en etapas diferentes, quiero hacer 2, 3 peleas antes de llegar a él, estar bien preparado, demostrar todavía tengo un camino para llegar, pero obviamente que mi objetivo hoy día también es Jean Silva.
I think we're at different moments in our careers. I think he's got coming off of those 3 wins, and I don't know if he's going to have a shot. May he have a shot at the title. Hope he gets a shot at the title. If he continues to do what he's doing, he may have a shot. Again, we're in different stages. I feel that maybe I could get 3 fights in this organization to feel better about this and to feel that I'm ready to get better. But the objective is there, is to get Jean Silva.
And finally, for me, what does it mean to represent Argentina in the UFC?
Y la última de él, de Alex, ¿qué significa para vos representar a Argentina?
Es un honor seguir los pasos también de Santiago Poncinibio, de Canetti. La verdad que es una alegría inmensa poder representar a toda la gente argentina, toda la gente que me apoya. La verdad que Argentina es un país que el MMA todavía está en crecimiento. Poder representarle y demostrarle que desde Argentina misma se puede llegar, la verdad que me llena de honor y obviamente voy a seguir peleando por ellos.
It's an honor, really, to follow the footsteps of Ponzinibbio, Zanetti, and all of them. It's a place where MMA is still young, so it's growing. But it is an honor to be able to represent the country and to fight for those people. So that's who I fight for. I fight for them.
Verdad. Y es simplemente un paso más para que UFC Argentina vuelva. Es un argentino más, pero próximamente va a venir una Argentina más. Vamos a hacer muchos y vamos a armar una cartelera en UFC en Argentina de vuelta.
And this is one more step towards actually our UFC come back from Argentina. He's one Argentine today. All of a sudden, there's gonna be another Argentine. There's one more, and we're gonna populate this thing so that we actually can put on an entire card and to go back to Argentina.
Kevin, aquí dos rápidas de mí. Tu oponente hoy salió a pelear muy rápido. ¿Cómo mantuviste la calma hoy para conseguir la victoria en la manera loca que le hiciste?
Today, your opponent actually came out kind of guns blazing really quick. What did you do to keep your cool as he was just charging at you?
La verdad que lo veníamos trabajando, ya sabíamos cómo era, cómo iba a salir, lo estudiamos de arriba abajo. No es ninguna cosa nueva en la que no se vea un sparring. Ya tengo 14 peleas, no es una pelea que no haya vivido, ya me pasó, ya sé cómo trabajar con ese tipo de gente. Simplemente la cabeza fría y contragolpe y bueno, se vio en la pelea.
I think we anticipated what was going to happen. We kind of thought this was going to happen this way. I've had 14 fights. I was like, hey, listen, I've seen this. I've seen a lot of different types of fights. There's nothing that I haven't seen in a sparring or in a fight. All I had to do was just keep my cool, sit down, just work on a little bit of a counter strikes. So to me, it wasn't big news.
Y mencionaste poder representar a Argentina en la UFC. Últimamente Argentina va en muy buena racha en las artes marciales mixtas. Ribovics hace poco ganó una guerra en la esfera y ahora tú te ganaste el contrato en la manera que hiciste hoy. ¿Cómo se siente ver el crecimiento del combate en general en Argentina?
And you're talking about the fact of representing Argentina, it'd be such an honor. I mean, if you think about this, your guys are going on a hot streak. You talk about Esteban Ribovic putting on a show at the Sphere. And now you're getting the contract. How does it feel? And where does that put it? Where's Argentina as far as MMA goes?
La verdad que ver la pelea de Esteban me motivó muchísimo. Fue un espectáculo, una demostración de boxeo hermosa. La verdad que ver que cada vez más argentinos y más gente se sigue metiendo en el MMA, que el MMA en Argentina se sigue haciendo más visto, está creciendo, más chicos quieren hacer ese deporte, que nos tomen a nosotros como ejemplo. La verdad que eso es algo muy hermoso y ojalá que en un futuro el MMA argentino también sea un lugar como fue en su momento Brasil, como bueno, también es Estados Unidos. Queremos que nosotros también tengamos un lugar reconocido en el MMA.
Actually watching Esteban Rivic's fight inspired me. It was an amazing display of boxing. And I feel that I hope that kids look at this and just, they get inspired as well. Because I hope we have a place in Argentina where MMA, it is growing. More kids now want to actually get into MMA, but I hope that it gets to the level of Brazil or the United States. We actually have we have people looking up and trying to do it. So I think that the more we do this, the more it inspires future kids and new generations to watch it.
Felicitaciones.
Muchísimas gracias.
Bienvenido oficialmente, loco. Date. You can always say, we're pregnant.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Oh, you out here? I'm out of here, bro.
Well, congratulations. How are you feeling?
Felicidade, parabéns. Como é que você está se sentindo?
É muito gratificante, né? Estar realizando um sonho. Então, estou muito feliz.
Very rewarding to actually make a dream come true, so I'm very happy.
Talk to me about that dream. When do you feel like you first got that dream? When did you first get the itch to be a UFC fighter?
Vamos falar um pouco desse sonho, então. Quando é que surgiu esse sonho? Quando é que você pensou assim, poxa, eu quero ser lutador do UFC?
Iniciei no mundo da luta, né, quando eu tinha 12 anos. Comecei ali no jiu-jitsu, né, o jiu-jitsu amazonense, um jiu-jitsu muito bom, né, numa cidade pequena, a quilômetros de Manaus, 80 quilômetros de Manaus. E como tinha pouca opções de esporte, né, eu iniciei no jiu-jitsu e com 12 anos, né, quando eu completei 18 anos, eu migrei para o MMA.
I started very young, you know, like 12 years old in jiu-jitsu in Amazonas in Brazil. Very strong jiu-jitsu out there, actually in the city, very small town, about 80 kilometers outside of Manaus, so out there. You know, started doing things out there, and then at about 18, then I migrated to MMA. That's what I did.
So when you thought about this moment, did it live up to what you'd always thought?
Quando você pensou nesse momento, se tornar um lutador do UFC, foi mais ou menos como você esperava?
Na verdade, eu estou vivendo um mundo totalmente diferente, né? Sonhava assim chegar, mas não imaginava que era essa imensidão. O UFC é outro mundo, sem explicação.
Now I'm actually living in a different world. It seems like I've thought, obviously, about coming to the UFC and being in the UFC, but I didn't know how big this is, how enormous it feels. So this is just very gratifying, but it's just a different world that I'm in. This is different.
How do you think your life will change now that you're a UFC fighter?
Como é que você acha que a tua vida vai mudar agora que você é um lutador do UFC?
Vamos trabalhar bastante, né? Espero estar sempre pronto. Quando receber um telefonema, Dana White aí chamando já, e eu estar pronto para qualquer adversário, né? E com certeza isso vai mudar minha vida.
We're gonna work. We're gonna work really hard. When I get that call from Dana White saying, "Hey, you got. This is the fight that we're gonna be really ready for it. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. This changes lives. It's gonna change my life."
I'm not sure if there was somebody translating what Dana was saying while he was talking. So, were you confident that you were going to get a contract at the end of the night?
Perguntou se você tinha acesso à tradução na hora que o Dana estava falando. A gente sabe que não foi naquele momento traduzido para você, que a gente só estava dizendo sim ou não. Que o Dana titubeou um pouco e falou um pouco, teve um pouco de drama. Como é que você ficou? Você estava nervoso? Você estava ansioso, confiante de que o Dana ia te selecionar para ter um contrato?
Na verdade, fiquei ali um pouco ansioso, né? Com certeza. Ele falou algumas palavras lá e a gente fica sem saber se vai vir um contrato ou não, entendeu? E eu fiz uma luta que no primeiro round eu não rendi tanto, né? Porém, no segundo round já procurei ali o jiu-jitsu, né? Esperei ali a queda do meu adversário e foi questão de estratégia, né? E joguei a isca e ele caiu. Então, deu tudo certo.
When he started talking, I know that he took his time, so didn't know what was going on. And you get nervous about it, so obviously you don't know what is happening. I think in the first round, it wasn't the fight that we wanted, so it went a little different. And I wasn't able to impose my rhythm, but then I knew that he was going to be going to the ground again, so this was bait and switch. Like, I knew it was all strategy. We knew, and I was going to employ my jiu-jitsu. So strategy was there, and it ended up working all right.
Going into your UFC debut, is there going to be a little bit of pressure or motivation on you knowing that Mick wanted you but Dana didn't? Is there something that you're going to have to prove to Dana now?
Começando a tua carreira no UFC, tendo a tua oportunidade de estrear, é uma pressão ou motivação adicional, sabendo que o Dana estava em dúvida, mas o Mick Maynard falou, não, esse cara tem que entrar. E pelo Mick Maynard você está aqui. Então dá uma pressão para, de repente, uma motivação para mostrar para o chefe, não, eu mereço.
Não, com certeza. Ele não viu tanta coisa, né? E eu, com certeza, eu tenho muita coisa para mostrar para ele. E eu vou estar pronto. Na minha estreia, ele já vai ver uma outra pessoa.
Surely, he didn't see as much as I have to offer, but I'm going to make sure that in my debut, he sees somebody who's ready and who's going to be a completely different person.
And have you thought about that debut? Do you have a location you'd like to fight in, or a date, or even an opponent?
E já pensou na estreia algum lugar onde você gostaria de lutar, ou uma data, um oponente?
Ainda não pensei, porém estarei pronto. Já retorno ao Brasil, né, e já volto a treinar, esperando a oportunidade. E então, qualquer hora, qualquer momento, eu estarei pronto.
Haven't thought about it. I mean, wherever it is, I'm actually just going to Brazil right away, starting training right away, just waiting for the opportunity. Whenever it comes calling, wherever it is, I'll be ready.
Congratulations. How does it feel to be a UFC fighter?
Familiar.
Familiar.
I've been dreaming and working so hard for so many years for this, so yeah, familiar. Finally, it was about time.
Did it live up to the way that you had pictured it your whole life?
Yes, to be honest, yes. I mean, the lights and the atmosphere, it's incredible. So yeah, this is the UFC. This is the big stage. So yeah, beautiful.
Talk to me a little bit about the fight. Did it go the way that you had thought it would? Did the opponent surprise you in any way?
Absolutely not, to be honest. We knew this guy is going to be extremely dangerous on the feet and on the ground because of his wrestling background. I knew I need to weather the storm a little bit because, you know, with these kind of guys, you can't just go head in. And, yeah, at some point I just went head in and, well, look at this. I got hit quite a few times. So, but I knew I need to weather the storm in the first round. And then I came out in the second and finished the job. I knew, I said it, I was going to finish him in the second round.
Can you talk to me a little bit about maybe, have you thought about your debut, where you'd like to fight at, ideal, somebody you'd like to fight, or even a location or a date?
A date, I don't know. They gave me 30 days suspension now, you know, because, well, the fight. I hope I would be able to fight before the end of the year. That would be nice. Where? Somewhere with crowd. I want to do that with crowd, you know. And that with crowd, that's $50,000 bonus, 100%. So I would like to do that with crowd. So yeah, hopefully a crowd event. That's my wish. That's what I would love.
What did you think of that? Was it your first time fighting in a situation like that where there wasn't that many fans?
Yeah, it was the first time. I fought in small venues, you know, but not like this. It was so quiet in there. You know, I was able to hear everything from the commentary to my corner to his corner to people in the crowd. Like I was able to hear everything. So it was kind of surreal. It was kind of weird. Didn't throw me off, but it was new.
And so a lot of fighters fight here, you know, a lot nowadays. Was there anything that you learned from fighting in this situation that maybe you hadn't anticipated that you would be able to take into your next fight?
I mean, I don't know. Like, for me, a fight, it's a fight. With crowd, without crowd, I mean, I'm focused on the man that I have in front of me, and that's it. Now, again, with crowd, it's different. This is different, so I don't know which one is better, but it doesn't matter to me too much.
And now that you've accomplished the goal of becoming a UFC fighter, what's the next goal? What's the next milestone you want to hit?
I make it to the top 15, top 10, top 5, and the belt. Like, if you come into the UFC and you don't have this goal, you should not be here in the first place. You know what I'm saying? You should strive for the top. That's my opinion. So, yeah, that's what I'm ahead.
How many fights do you think it'll take before you get into the top 15?
The right fights. It can take 10 fights. It can take 3 fights. You know what I'm saying? So, the right fights.
Thank you.
Congrats on the win. Tremendous performance. We saw a little bit of ebb and flow, back and forth, a little bit of everything. What was the talk like in between the rounds that your corner was able to keep you focused and just say, like, here's what we need you to do. Don't get caught up in this whole thing. This is what we need from you tonight.
So I was trying not to brawl too much with him. You know, I knew he's going to come and just swing with both hands. I just make sure I had my hands up. And on the feet, actually, I think I got caught like once or twice, like very good shots, but nothing crazy. But I knew, because of his wrestling, I knew he's gonna try to take me down. I caught him early. I caught him with the right hand early, and he wobbled. So I knew from there he's gonna shoot, and he did, and took me down. And on the ground, because I had some smaller injuries, I didn't want to force a crazy scramble, you know, to get back on the feet. If I would have wanted, I would have get back on my feet like this quick. But because, you know, some bruises that, you know, when you train hard for a fight like this, you end up with bruises that can mess you up in there. So I choose the approach of staying down on the ground, try to time up, eat a few shots if it was necessary, and just kind of try to weather the storm in the first round.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. Were these, and not to give away too much, of course, were these bumps and bruises a factor to where you have to adjust the game plan in your fight tonight?
Yes.
Right. The the fight opened with the event, opened with 2 solid fights and then some finishes. Does this add any kind of pressure already to the pressure you come in trying to get this contract with the UFC?
Not one bit. Not one bit. I mean, I've been dreaming, I've been working for 10 years for this thing with the sole goal of being here today. So, yeah, I don't care who's fighting before me and how he performed or she performed. I don't care. I'm going to just be focused on my fight and do my thing. That's it. So, no pressure. Give me more pressure if it's for that.
Yes, sir. I love it. And something else that I really appreciate you saying is that top 15 mentality. Like, why are you in here if you're not trying to go for the top, go for the gold? But why has the game changed in your opinion that some guys and girls might want to just get that shoe deal, that TV spot, that movie, and or maybe protect their records and not always have that attitude you have of like, I'm here to be the best. If not, why am I even here?
I think that's a question you should ask them. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm here for the money. You know, I'm here to get as much money as possible, and people use this platform to find ways to do, you know, money and other things in a different way. So they kind of, I don't know. You should ask them, to be honest.
And last for me, and of course with the wins, the money will come. Walk me through that finish because it was very methodical. It was like a young veteran. You didn't just go balls to the wall and just see what lands. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. People want to see a finish, but you took your time, walked him down, and you know, head, body, just really picked them apart. Almost like everything was in slow motion from this dream you had, and you were able to make it happen in real life.
So yesterday when we had the weigh-in, I saw him a little bit soft around the middle. So I'm like, that's no way that body can take too much damage. So if I find the perfect moment with the right shot, I can hurt him. You know, I can do some damage there. And I tried with some knees, and I caught him with, I think, 1 or 2 knees with a punch, and then with the middle kick at the end. I caught him with that middle kick, and then I saw him get his elbows in. I was like, yeah, I got you. And then I just kind of try not to rush. I knew he's going to shoot, and he did. Then I just got out of that little thing. You know, on the ground, I just freed my leg and went for the kill. But, you know, calm, not to rush, because I knew how dangerous he is. He's 17-1. Like, you don't rush on a 17-1. Like, you need to take your time. So, yeah, that's what I did.
Love to see it. Vicious, violent, but also calm. Keep him coming. Congrats on the win, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Oh, of course, but yeah, dale, bro. Oh, dude. Another part where I learned to read the room is.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm like, you know what, I'm going to start.
Spanish speaking. That's an exception. That's the one exception.
No, por eso voy a empezar a. I'm going to do a sneaky because obviously I don't want to disrespect, pero voy a aprovechar para empaquetar.
Что? Что? Извиняюсь, по-украински не буду говорить, потому что нету переводчика, поэтому на русский.
Do you want to translate that? No?
I'm sorry that I'm not able to speak in Ukrainian language because there is no translator from Ukrainian language.
Can you talk to me a little bit about what it feels like to be a UFC fighter?
Скажи, какое самочувствие быть UFC бойцом?
Честно, до сих пор в это не верю. Это просто лучший день в моей жизни. Я очень рад. Очень-очень рад.
To be honest with you, I still do not believe it. It's the greatest day of my life.
Did it live up to the way that you had thought this moment would feel like?
Ты думал, что этот момент так чувствовать будет?
Я был уверен, что выиграю. Это 100%.
Чувство, как это? Что так чувствовать, этот момент будет, как ты чувствуешь сейчас.
100%. Я уверен в этом. Был, что я буду так чувствовать все.
Yeah, 100%. I was sure, but I would feel that way.
When you think about this moment, what does this mean for you and for your country and for everybody who's supported you along the way?
Repeat.
What does this mean for you and your country and your family and everyone that has supported you along the way?
Что это значит тебе, твоей семье и твоей стране, и всем тем, кто тебя поддержал по пути?
В первую очередь у нас в стране появился еще один UFC-боец. Я думаю, вся страна сегодня была на ногах после моей победы. Моя семья очень рада. Надеюсь, в дальнейшем я попаду в топ-5 и буду радовать всех еще больше в своей стране и в своей семье.
I think that all country was on a feet during this moment, even though it's night. It means a lot to my friends. My family is very happy, and I want to be in future in the UFC top 5 and continue to show great performances.
I know you were asked about this already, but being such a big underdog going into a fight like this, does that give you extra motivation, or is it a little bit of pressure off your back knowing that people aren't expecting anything from you?
Ты уже вопрос такой получал. Ты был большим андердогом в этом бою, и ли это было что-то на твоих плечах, или как раз это было бы легче, потому что ты просто доказывал свое?
Честно, я вам скажу, если бы я был бы не с Украины, а с Америки, я уверен был бы, что я был бы фаворитом. И для себя я понимал, что я фаворит 100%.
To be honest, if I would be not Ukrainian but American citizen, I would be a favorite, and I was sure with my victory.
Why do you say that? Is it because you think people don't know who you are or haven't seen you fight?
Ты думаешь, это потому, что люди не видели твоих боев и не знают тебя?
100%. У меня очень много боев в любителях. Все судят по профессионалам, но я очень побеждал сильных ребят в любителях и понимал, что я побеждал намного сильнее ребят, чем этот парень.
Everybody judges only professional fights, but I have tons of amateur fights, and I have beaten way stronger opponents than him in there.
What did you think of your opponent?
Что ты думал про своего оппонента?
Честно говоря, я, как и говорил в интервью до этого, что у него только есть бласт-дабл и больше ничего нет. И я абсолютно был готов к нему, понимал, что победа будет со мной. Если не в первом, то в втором раунде 100%.
What I was telling in interviews before a fight that is really like his biggest skill is a blast double. So I knew blast double takedown, who is not familiar with wrestling, and if I stop that, I 100% gonna win fight. If not first round, then second.
And you mentioned a friend that you dedicated the fight to. I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about him. A friend that he dedicated the fight to.
Расскажи про друга, которому этот бой посвятил.
Мы виделись с ним на чемпионатах по ВАКа, по кикбоксингу, на спаррингах сборной. Я вам скажу, очень сильный парень, который меня в свое время перебивал. Я на нем рос. И этот парень был чемпионом мира, чемпионом всемирных игр. Я думаю, у него было бы большое будущее в профессионалах. Но, увы, он умер. Он, как настоящий мужчина, в первые дни войны пошел воевать и умер как герой.
Yes, so he was European world champion in Waco kickboxing. We met at competitions, we met together in training camps, and he was just an amazing guy. He was always beating me up, and I grew up a lot with training with him. And during the first days of the war, he went as a warrior to defend his country and died as a hero.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Спасибо, что поделился этим.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
And last question for me. Have you had a chance to think about what you want your debut to look like? Do you have a date that you'd like to fight or an opponent?
Как ты хотел бы, что выглядел бы твой... Или имеешь ты в голове, как ты хотел бы, что выглядел твой дебют в UFC? Дата, либо оппонент?
Честно говоря, после Нового года, в следующем году в начале планирую драться. Там уже как выйдет. Одному Богу известно, как все будет. Соперник вообще без разницы, какого дадут, такого дадут. Я буду готов к любому сопернику. И будем в клетке видеть, кто сильнее.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't think of it, but perhaps after the New Year's, whatever beginning of a new year, what opponent will be, it doesn't matter. In the cage will show who is the better opponent, and that's pretty much it. It's all in a God's will.
Спасибо.